Okay, let's see. There is a few items in here that could work. Little decorator items. I think I'm gonna try this one if it doesn't go for too much.
You know Brandi Passanti, the undisputed queen of sass on Storage Wars. For years, we watched her dig through mountains of other people's forgotten junk, always searching for that one life-changing score. For over a decade, she traded barbs with Jared, outsmarted her rivals, and somehow managed to turn trash into treasure. Then, one discovery seemed to change everything. It was a find so massive it's still whispered about in forums and plastered across clickbait headlines, a find tied to a mind-blowing $1.2 million jackpot, but the story the cameras didn't show you is way more complex and shocking than a simple winning bid. It involves a mysterious safe, an unbelievable $7.5 million in cold, hard cash, and a high-stakes legal battle that would make it the most legendary find in reality TV history. Today, we're unpacking the complete, unvarnished truth behind the jackpot that rocked the Storage Wars universe and revealing Brandi Passanti's real connection, or lack of one, to this unbelievable fortune. What truly happened behind the scenes is a wild tale of luck, morality, and a multi-million-dollar problem you have to hear to believe. Before we get to that seven-figure jackpot, we have to understand why Brandi's name is the one that always gets attached to the show's biggest legends. When Storage Wars first hit our screens back in 2010, Brandi and her then partner, Jared Schultz, were instantly known as the Young Guns. They were the scrappy underdogs, working with a tiny budget compared to the old pros like Daryl Sheets or the flashy, bankrolled buyers. Jared was the impulsive one, the gambler ready to risk it all on a gut feeling. Brandi, though? She was the anchor. She was the sharp, skeptical voice of reason, the one rolling her eyes at Jared's wild bids but secretly having that killer instinct they needed to make the whole thing work, and fans fell in love with her, instantly. In a field full of loud, oversized personalities, Brandi was a breath of fresh air. She was relatable, witty, and smarter than she let on. Her bickering with Jared wasn't just manufactured TV drama, it felt like a real window into the pressure of a couple trying to make a living in one of the craziest businesses out there. They were running their Now and Then thrift store in Orange, California, and every single locker they bought was a genuine risk. A bad unit didn't just mean losing a few $100, it meant they might not be able to pay their bills. That authenticity connected with millions of viewers. Brandi wasn't just playing a character, she was a businesswoman, a mom, and a fighter. Her Queen of Sass title was definitely earned. She had a quick comeback for every one of Dave Hester's smug yups, and a death stare ready for Barry Weiss's weirdest antics. But under that tough exterior was a genuinely sharp eye for value. The producers of Storage Wars actually just wanted Jared for the show at first, but after they met Brandi, they knew they couldn't do it without her. She was the secret weapon. She understood that success wasn't just about finding one huge score, it was about the slow, steady grind. As she said herself, their business was all about minimizing risks, something Jared wasn't always good at. Over the years, Brandi grew from being one half of a team into a powerhouse all on her own. After she and Jared split, she came back to the show as a solo player, proving she never needed a partner to be a serious bidder. She's called her time on the show a blessing and a curse, admitting the massive pressure and emotional toll it took, but also loving the thrill of the hunt. Her net worth is estimated to be around $2 million, which is a testament to her smarts and her staying power, built not on one lottery ticket win, but on years of hard work. It's this mix of grit, intelligence, and being a fan favorite that makes her the perfect hero for a myth. People want to believe Brandi was the one who hit the biggest jackpot. For so many viewers, she's the hero of the Storage Wars story. So when a tale of a multi-million-dollar find pops up, of course the legend would get tangled up with the show's most beloved star. In reality TV, you have your storylines, and then you have your legends. The story of the $7.5 million storage locker is a true legend. It's an event so huge it's taken on a life of its own, becoming something like a modern-day pirate's treasure. It's that story that blurs the line between TV and real life, the one whispered about on Reddit, exaggerated in YouTube comments, and plastered across crazy articles, usually with Brandi Passanti's face smiling right next to the headline. The myth usually starts like any other episode. It's a sunny day in Southern California. An auction is going on with the usual cast of characters, all trying to look into a pretty normal-looking unit. You can't see much, just some boxes and old furniture, nothing that screams, life-altering secret. The bidding is pretty tame. A few $100s, maybe $500 tops. A small gamble. The kind of reasonable risk that a pragmatist like Brandi might take. In the legendary version of the story, the locker is won, and the real work starts. The new owner begins digging through everything, just like we see on the show. And then, they find it. Tucked in a corner, maybe under a dusty old blanket, is a heavy safe. The excitement builds. Getting a safe is always a gamble, most of them are empty. But this one feels different. A locksmith is called, and the tension builds with every screech of the drill. Finally, the heavy door creaks open, and inside, it's not jewelry or antiques. It's cash. Stacks and stacks of it. More cash than anyone could dream of finding in a forgotten locker. The number is what makes the story so electric, $7.5 million. It's so staggering it sounds made up. A discovery like that wouldn't just be the biggest in Storage Wars history. It would be one of the biggest finds of its kind, period. And then, the story takes another dramatic turn. The original owners of the money, realizing their massive mistake, get involved. Lawyers are called. A tense negotiation kicks off. Suddenly, the person who found the fortune is facing a moral and financial dilemma of epic proportions, and this is where that magic number, $1.2 million, finally enters the picture. The original owners, desperate to get their money back, offer a finder's fee. A huge, life-changing fee. They offer the finder $1.2 million to return the other $6.3 million. The finder accepts, walking away with a jackpot that would make even the most successful storage hunter's head spin. This incredible story spread like wildfire. It was the ultimate Storage Wars fantasy. It had all the perfect ingredients: a tiny investment, a shocking discovery, and a massive payoff. It was proof that a fortune really could be hiding behind any roll-up door. As the story got passed around, the details got fuzzy. The anonymous finder in the story needed a face, a hero. And who better than Brandi? Her reputation as a savvy, deserving player made her the perfect person to stick in the middle of this story. The myth wasn't just about a jackpot, it was about the ultimate underdog victory. And in the minds of many fans, the story became, hey, did you hear Brandi found a locker with millions and got to keep over $1 million? The legend was born. But the truth was about to get a whole lot more interesting. So here's the crazy part. The story of the $7.5 million discovery and the $1.2 million reward isn't a myth. It's 100% true. It is, without question, the single greatest find ever connected to Storage Wars. The thing is, the hero of this incredible story isn't Brandi Passanti. The truth involves a different cast member, a chance meeting, and a series of events that happened almost completely off camera, which makes it even more compelling than anything the show could have scripted. The real story starts with the auctioneer himself, Dan Dotson. In November of 2018, Dan was at a charity event in Indio, California, when a woman came up to him with a mind-blowing story. She told him that her husband worked for a guy who had bought a storage unit from Dan at one of his auctions. The winning bid? Just $500. As the new owner started clearing out the unit, he found a big, locked safe. This happens a lot in the storage world, and as Dan knows, they're almost always empty. But you can't just ignore the possibility. The guy hired a locksmith, but the first one couldn't get it open. He didn't give up. He called a second expert, and this time, they succeeded. When that heavy door swung open, he was looking at the stuff of dreams. It was filled with cash. Neat stacks of it, totaling an insane $7.50 million. But that discovery came with a huge, immediate problem. Shortly after the find, the new owner got a call from a lawyer representing the original owners of the unit. Word had somehow gotten back to them that their forgotten locker, and the fortune inside, had been sold. This is where the story goes from being about pure luck to a messy legal and moral dilemma. So legally, this is where things get tricky. In most places, when a unit is sold at auction, everything inside belongs to the buyer. The sale is final, as is. But some contracts have clauses about personal items, and finding cash is a gray area. Finding a few $100 is one thing. Finding $7.5 million is another. That amount of cash makes you wonder where it came from. As fellow cast member Renee Nazoda later said, if you find money like that, there's probably a reason it isn't in the bank. The lawyer for the original owners made an initial offer: give the money back, and you can keep a reward of $600,000. That is a life-changing profit on a $500 investment. A lot of people would have taken that deal and run. But the new owner, holding all the cards, said no. The negotiation got more intense. The attorney came back with a final offer, doubling the reward to an incredible $1.2 million. Faced with that massive sum, and the potential danger of trying to handle over $7 million of mysterious cash, the man made his choice. He accepted. He returned the remaining $6.3 million and walked away with a $1.2 million profit. Dan Dotson himself talked about how tough that choice would be. His wife, Laura, said she wouldn't feel like it was clean money. Dan agreed, saying that trying to keep the whole $7.5 million would mean constantly looking over your shoulder. The fear of who that money belonged to would be immense. Taking the $1.2 million wasn't just a huge win, it was the smart, safe play. So, the jackpot was real. The numbers are right. But it happened to an anonymous guy, at an auction that wasn't being filmed. The story only came out because a woman shared it with Dan Dotson at a party. The whole thing played out in the shadows of Storage Wars, a real-life drama that was bigger than anything the producers could have ever captured on camera. Okay, so Brandi didn't find the legendary $7.5 million safe. But it would be a huge mistake to think her career hasn't been successful. The reason these myths stick to her is because she has consistently proven she's got the skills, digging up some truly remarkable finds of her own. She may not have a $1 million locker story, but her highlight reel is full of impressive scores. Let's look at the real jackpots of Brandi's career. One of her most famous discoveries was a locker that did seem to have a ton of cash in it. In one episode, she and Jared found a box with about $24,000 in bills. It looked like a massive win. But there was a very weird catch: the faces had been cut out from the center of most of the bills. This bizarre act of vandalism made most of the cash totally worthless. You can only redeem damaged currency if more than half the bill is there. In the end, they were only able to redeem a small fraction of it. It was a classic Storage Wars lesson: what you see isn't always what you get. Beyond that, Brandi and Jared had tons of finds that made them a great profit just through volume and having a good eye. In the very first season, they made a name for themselves by taking risks that paid off. In one case, another bidder drove a unit price up to $1,700, a huge gamble for them back then. Inside, they found a classic toy collection that they sold for an amazing $12,800, giving them a profit of over $11,000. Another time, a tiny $50 risk turned into a fantastic score when they found one of the biggest collections of My Little Pony memorabilia ever seen, worth around $1,000. It wasn't millions, but it was their business model in action: turn small investments into big returns, one locker at a time. We should also clear up another massive find that people wrongly connect to Brandi: the James Bond Lotus Esprit submarine car. This is another true storage legend. A custom Lotus from the Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me was found in a Long Island storage unit in 1989. The unit was bought for less than $100. And yes, Elon Musk eventually bought that car for almost $1 million. It's an incredible story, but it has zero connection to Brandi or the show. Brandi's real career is a story of consistency over spectacle. While other buyers like Daryl Sheets might have landed bigger, headline-grabbing finds, like his debated $300,000 art collection, Brandi's success is built on hundreds of smaller, smarter wins. She represents the everyday grind of the business. She's outlasted most of her competition, adapted to a changing market, and built a career that's still going strong. She is the real deal. In some ways, the truth of her career is more impressive than any myth. It's a story not of one lucky day, but of years of dedication and a relentless drive to win.so, while the incredible story of a $1. 2 million jackpot is a very real part of the Storage Wars world. It's a legend that belongs to Dan Dotson and some lucky, anonymous buyer who made the deal of a lifetime. Brandi Passanti's name got attached to the myth simply because she's so popular and because fans wanted to see their favorite underdog get that ultimate score, but the truth is, Brandi never needed a single, unbelievable jackpot to cement her legacy. Her career has been a masterclass in skill and resilience. From turning a $50 My Little Pony collection into a $1,000 profit to dealing with the bizarre find of faceless cash, she has proven time and again that she's one of the sharpest players in the game. Her journey from being one half of the Young Guns to a confident solo powerhouse with a $2 million net worth is a testament to her hard work. She is, and always has been, a force to be reckoned with. The legend is thrilling, but the truth of her long-term success is even more impressive. What do you think is the most memorable find in Storage Wars history? Was it a huge cash score or just something totally weird and unforgettable? Let us know your favorites in the comments below. And if you love getting the real story behind your favorite reality shows, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more.